Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome back to Mr. B's podcast. I'm Mr. B, and finally, I have figured out. I had time to get into settings and computer optimization and camera settings and this and that and bit rates and all this. So finally, I had time to get into it, and I'm slowly starting to narrow it down in my free time to have these podcasts be lag free, right? We got to focus on the frames per second and the quality. So, right now, the quality may not be that great, but it's working for me right now. So, over time, I may go ahead and just optimize it, tweak it a little more. But right now, I think it's all right. So, you guys let me know what you think. And so, the other day, we made a podcast, right, about the drone situation in Jersey, right? There's been multiple developments since then, right? Now they're reporting drones in multiple sites, multiple states, right? So there's no longer just drones flying around New Jersey. There's drones flying all over the place pretty much right now. And I'm seeing a lot of the video pictures on X. Most of the crafts look the same. But then what happened yesterday, right? They had a congressional hearing with the Border Patrol people, the FBI, Homeland Security, Department of Defense, right? And basically, all of them got up there and they all said the same thing. We don't know what's going on with Jersey, but we know that on our southern border, we're having a drone crisis, right? And on the southern border, we're taking action, we're mitigating the threats and things like that. So, what was interesting to me about the entire, part one, part two of their little session they had. Obviously, everybody that said they don't know what the hell's going on, anything north of the border. But our southern border, right? Border Patrol chief is saying they're flying over drugs, allegedly. They're flying over guns and this and that. And they're spying on operations of Border Patrol. They're taking action, right? We know that. But nobody knows what the hell's going on in Jersey, right? So when the individuals who were there to give their testimony were pressed about New Jersey, it was just this lackadaisical response. Hey, look, we don't know what's going on. We want to cooperate with local law enforcement to figure out what's going on and this and that. And then some of the Congress people were pressing to get answers. And I was shocked at the response from our federal government, right? Think about something. There are multiple drones flying over American territory, spying, maybe collecting and intelligence gathering and all this stuff, and it just seems like they just don't care, right? So I don't know what the heck is going on, but I hope they figure it out. But now, if we look into the testimony that they had presented, right, in their own words, right, me as somebody who's conducted thousands, let's just be modest. Hundreds of interviews, right? Participated, investigated, this, that, and every other thing, right? Something stood out to me, which is very interesting, right? So, when the FBI was asked if they have the technology to mitigate the drones, right? They said that they do. So now, when the Congress people say, hey, look, does law enforcement have this technology? They said that they're uncertain, but some of them said that they have the technology. So then the congressperson said, hey, look, what can law enforcement do to basically deal with this type of thing, right? And then he said, hey, look, if they have the technology to hijack or counter or mitigate the threat, can they use it? And then the FBI guy said, hey, look, we only prefer them to track the drones. We don't want them taking any action towards the drones. So you guys got up there and you said, hey, look, there's no threat to the public. There's no credible evidence that they're a threat to the public, right? But then now you're saying you don't know who the hell the drones are from, where they're coming from, who's flying them. How do you know that, right? So that was interesting to me for them to say, hey, look, there's no threat, but hey, just look, turn a blind eye. We're investigating, right? So something very suspicious is happening. Something very interesting is going on, which is leading me to believe that the drones are from the United States government, right? I'll say that again. I believe the drones are from the United States government, as well as now you have all these enthusiasts who want to be part of the phenomenon, who may be just flying their drones up, right, just for the hell of it, to join the friggin', the fun, right? But now I'm starting to think that the drones belong to our own government. Now, why do I believe that, right? Because the FBI guy now said, hey, look, we only want law enforcement to track the drones. We don't want them to take any other action towards the drones, right? So then now the congressperson pressed and said, hey, look, the drones are flying over nuclear power plants, infrastructure, military bases. Then he said, would it be within their authority to shoot the drones down? Like, plain and simply, he said that. If a drone was over a military base, could the military base shoot the drone down? The FBI guy, or whoever he was, Department of Defense, Homeland Security, said in plain words, right? He said, oh, it would be up to the let's just be simple here. It would be up to the commander of the base, right? Guys, who are you BSing here, right? You know full and well that before they do something like that, they're going to call up somebody higher up. They're going to call the brass and ask them, can they shoot the drone down, right? So to sit there and try to pass the buck off on, let's just say, a base commander, right, who can take action and shoot a drone down, right, to pass the buck to them, but knowing that at the end of the day, it's going to be your people who's going to be given the command whether they can or not, right? So it just seems like a bunch of baloney to me that came out of that hearing, which is leading me to believe that now those drones, they're American drones, right? They don't want anyone on the ground taking any action towards those drones. Why would they not want anyone to take any action other than follow it? Seriously, ask yourself, why would the federal government tell anyone on the ground, law enforcement, military, not to take any action unless, they get authorization from higher ups, right? Because they probably belong to the United States. Who are you kidding? Now I'm starting to think, hey, look, maybe this is some type of new technology that they're working on ourselves, testing us out. How our military, police respond, all this other stuff, civilian, how do they respond in case we need to use these drones at a later date somewhere outside of the United States. It's very interesting. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not into those conspiracies, but based on the evidence at hand, it would lead me to believe that those drones are American drones. Those are military drones, right? And again, I've seen a lot of pictures. Better pictures came out today of some of those drones and what they're doing, and they are huge. They're not regular recreational Walmart, agricultural, perimeter security type. These are huge drones, the size of buses, like they're saying, cars, small cars. So, and then for them to say, well, now we think they're coming from the sea. Again, why don't you guys get your ass out there on the ocean, see what the hell's going on? Again, why don't you enlist the help of fishers and other people who have sonar, radar, blah, 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 blah. They have eyeballs, right? They can call something into the police or the Coast Guard. Hey, look, I see, 50 drones coming over the Atlantic Ocean here. This is where they're coming from. But then you had some congressperson say that there was allegedly, right, there was an Iranian mothership somewhere in the ocean launching these drones. Do I believe that? No. I do not believe that. Not with no evidence that supports it. I mean, is it possible that an Iranian ship is off the coast somewhere, Atlantic Ocean, on our East Coast, just sending ships? I mean, it's possible, right? We had Russia on their way to do drills with other countries and stuff like that to flex their muscle at the United States and make Biden look stupid, right? Russia got very close to the United States. They practically passed by us and waved on their way to their final destination. Now, Russia didn't intend to do any harm to the United States, but they definitely did wanted to show you how big their balls were, right? How big their muscles were. And they did a damn good job at it, right? So, honestly, I don't think, and not to go off on a tangent, right? But as it relates to like world events, I don't think China and Russia want a direct conflict with the United States of America. It's just bad for business. Me doing business and I'm not gonna lie, I've done business in those countries before, right? I actually when I was actually much younger, I it's cheaper to produce stuff offshore, right? It's very cheap to do stuff. Well, let's say it's cost effective, okay, to do business with other countries, right? Because their manufacturing costs are lower. They have the people who do the work, right? And I'm not saying I'm glorifying them, but it's just cheaper to do business there. Now, they don't want their economy screwed up because of war, right? Right? Russia wants the United States to stop pushing, NATO and all this other stuff, aiming missiles, taking over territory, making it easier for Ukraine and United Nations, whatever NATO, to get closer to Russia to intimidate them, right? Russia doesn't want that, right? So if you and I were neighbors, right, and I decided, right, you put a fence up, right, in between us, but I said, hey, look, I want to spy on you. I want to look at you barbecuing. I want to look at you in the pool, right? Or maybe you might be skinny dipping. I want to take a look. You never know, right? So if I put a big ass camera over my fence and aimed it in your private area, right? Your property, and I'm watching you, right? Aren't you going to feel a certain way? That is exactly what happens in Ukraine, right? And now, if you and I get into it as neighbors and I say, you know what? Now I'm going to put 10 more cameras up, but I'm also going to put lasers that are going to shine in your eye and blind you if you ever want to do something to me, make a fight or have a fight or something like that. That is exactly what happened with Ukraine and Russia. And now, the United States is sitting up there, right? We're funding multiple conflicts around the world. I don't know if anyone understands that, but the United States is funding multiple conflicts around the world. And because of that, right, we're not doing it for the hell of it, right? They'll say, hey, we'll do it. We're doing it to protect Ukraine. No, the hell we're not. We're doing it to show our balls and fight a proxy war against Putin, right? And Putin knows that. So why the hell are we funding so many conflicts around the world? We're not just doing it for free or in the name of the people we're helping. We're doing it because we get some kind of benefit out of it, right? We are doing it to get benefit out of it, and don't let anyone else, don't let anyone tell you otherwise, right? Because either we're going to get some type of resources or land, or just to stick it to some foreign adversary, So it's very interesting. Russia, China, they don't want war with the United States, right? We only hear half the story, and I'm not being anti-American because I'm not. Obviously, you see my damn background, right? So it's just you have to be a critical thinker during these days, right? And don't just get your news from the mainstream media in the United States. No, if you want the other side of the story, you need to start looking at sources of news outside of the United States, right? It'll give you a bigger picture. Like I talked about Chinese hacking, right? The United States, China's hacking us, China's hacking us. But nowhere on the news does it tell you what we're doing to China, right? So, what's fair is fair. What we need to do is we need to keep our business to ourselves, right? Stop paying attention on everybody else. Pay attention on us, America first, right? And the next administration that's coming in, hopefully, they follow that, and United States just does better, right? Because we've already been surpassed by China, Russia with education, Canada, medical, right? And all this other stuff, right? And now we're spending money on all this stupid stuff around the world, and we're not even putting it into our own selves here, right? So, and then you have the administration on their way out saying, hey, look, we're going to spend as much money as possible on our way out the door in the next, 20 days or 30, 40 days, whenever Trump takes office, right? So it's interesting, but to circle back to the drone situation, I think there's stuff going on that they're not telling us. I think the drones at this moment in time appear to possibly be American due to the lack of response by the federal government and them telling people not to take action to mitigate the drones in Jersey, right? They said, the Border Patrol, obviously, they're mitigating a threat. They're taking action to bring drones down. That's great. But another thing that was interesting is they, during their interview, right, today, their hearing, they try to lump in the border situation and the situation going on in Jersey today, right? So basically, it was double speaking. One of the Congress people were asking questions about to the border chief, right? One of the Congress people were asking questions about the border, and then they quickly changed it to New Jersey. But the border chief, how he was speaking was that, hey, look, when he got to respond to it, he basically made it seem, at least from my ears, and it might have been a trick they were doing, I don't know, but from my ears, it sounded like, hey, look, we were able to identify, track, and mitigate and bring drones down. That's basically what he said. But it was two points, 2 points that were basically merged together to make it seem like one, like they were taking action in New Jersey, which they're not, right? So that also led me to believe that they were they weren't being honest. There's a lot of misdirection and things like that going on with their speech and double speech and just some of their mannerisms and their body language leads me to believe, again, I'm not some super secret CIA interrogator, right? I mean, you don't know. But at any rate, it just the cues they were giving off leads me to believe that there's more to the story that needs to be told, right? So, all right. So I think that's it for this podcast. So be careful out there, right? If you see something, say something, right? Get as much in hell. I don't know if you guys are taking camera and video with freaking potatoes out there these days. But come on, can't you get some better? Can't somebody just point a friggin' thermal camera that has a zoom on it so we can see a little bit more, maybe infrared? Come on, guys, you can do better. You have the technology. We need better pictures, right? And if you have them, post them on X because that's pretty much where most of the information is, the most up-to-date information is coming from is X. So, yeah, if you have it, post it. If you see something, say something, right? So, until next time, tune into the next podcast, and I will see you later.